there's a lot of stuff out there on life planning and financial planning and estate planning and tax planning and numbers and so much that it can be overwhelming. And people often ask kind of, where do I start? That's a great question because it can be overwhelming. I mean, it's overwhelming for me some days, and I do this for a living. So what we've done is we've created something we call the Childfree Wealth Checkup to give you kind of a litmus test of like what's working, what's not, where do you need to start, where do you need to work through. And the answer is that's your first step to get a Childfree Wealth Checkup. Childfree Wealth Checkup, you're going to get this report and goes over 7 different areas. All of those ones I just outlined, kind of your life, your investments, your finances, your estate plan, all that fun stuff, your insurance. But it's going to highlight where there's issues and where you need help and where you can do it by yourself. So that gives you an idea. And what I tend to find works best for people is if you can take 1 to 2 issues on at a time and work those through until you're in a good place. So for example, if you don't have a budget or you don't have a plan for your money, cash flow plan, whatever app you want to use, whatever it may be, you need to start there. You don't have to have it down to every penny, but you have to have a plan for your money. Well, we've got a whole bunch of tips on budgeting. You can go in and dive in there. Now, if on the other hand, you got your budget down, you're out of debt, you got your emergency fund, cool, and you want to jump into investing, you can jump in there. But here's the thing. If you're going to jump into investing, you first need to know, what are my goals? Which really goes back to the life planning question. Like, well, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to go? And what you're going to see is if you don't have a good life plan, if you don't have a set of goals, you can save and invest and not, you would be doing quote unquote the right things financially, but missing your life. I think the challenge is we're looking at things unemotionally. In a checkup, we kind of look at it as numbers, facts, figures based on what you've given us. And we've taken that kind of freak out moment out. Like, well, what if I don't do this? What if I do this wrong? Here's the basics. Here's what we think is there. But you still have your emotions tied around it. So if there's something that you're stuck with, or you're just not getting past, or you keep making the same mistake over and over, or you're just super overwhelmed, that's where it makes sense to pay for somebody to help you. We have people we call Childfree Wealth Specialists who can help you through it. We have an ongoing program we call our 365 product, which does everything. It's kind of like, everything that I just outlined in the life planning, the financial planning, tax planning, all that, you're doing that with us. We meet usually monthly for the first year or so, and then it cuts back a little bit depending on where your life is. But we're walking through it with you, and that's proactive, us helping you, us guiding you. That works. It's not cheap, but it's worth it because now you have a professional that you're working through that looks at it through a child-free lens and can help you on all of those tough questions. If that's not for you or you can't afford it, we've also got hourly support where you can just grab an hour with a planner. If that doesn't work for you, we've got group Q&As. If you want to do a combination of group Q&As and our ongoing product and hourly, whatever you want, you can get help. But you need to ask for it. We can't read your mind and say, this is where you're struggling, and this is where you need help. The checkup has done that, but you need to then go, hey, I'd like you to purposely help us. We have a team. We have a team of Childfree Wealth Specialists that do this. We have experts in different areas. We'll bring them in and help you. You don't have to be overwhelmed. Now, kind of a kind of test for this. If you're working on one issue financially, life planning, whatever it is, for 6 months and made no progress, you probably need help. If you just keep getting stuck in circles, you need help. If in 6 months you've made 1, 2, or 3 improvements, by the way, one improvement works. If you made any improvements over the past 6 months, you might be able to do it yourself. Awesome. Dig into our academy, dig into the book, The Childfree Guide to Life and Money, dig into our podcast, dive into the areas you want to work on, and just prioritize 1 or 2 improvements at a time. Now, notice I didn't say make it perfect. I said improvements. Small improvements over time and up into huge changes. Take 1 or 2 things at a time. Take the time right now, close this video and go, I want to work on this for the next 6 months. We'll see how it goes.